Hi guys, I'm Shmi, hello and welcome back to the channel where today we're going to go and find what Top Gear called the greatest driving road in the world, the Transfagarasan Highway here in Romania, something that I have always been looking forward to driving. We're on Homball, the journey back from Gumball 3000, having finished the 2023 rally in Porto, Montenegro with my AMG GT Black Series for the last leg. We then drove it from Montenegro through Serbia, Bulgaria, here to Romania, where in fact we are right in front of the spectacular Palace of the Parliament. This is exactly where Gumball finished 7 years ago, back in 2016, Dublin to Bucharest, but here with one of my very own cars, about 2,000 miles away from home, with a drive ahead of us to go take on this bit of road that was driven by Clarkson in a DBS, by Hammond in a California, by May in a Gallardo Spyder, to drive it in my car and see if they were right. Is the Transfagarasan Highway the best? Or tomorrow, also in this video, is the Transalpina Highway, the most notorious road here in Romania, even better? This is what I've been looking forward to. Let's do it. Today, we're going to the greatest driving road in the world to see if Top Gear were right. Thankfully, the sun is trying to poke through the clouds. The solar beam is starting to look amazing because earlier this morning it was pouring with rain, and today we're heading to the top of the pass at over 2,000 meters altitude, where it's going to be wet, cold and windy, but we're going anyway, so wish us luck. Now, this is the car that I chose to drive for the last day of Gumball 3000, to use it for Homball. Traditionally, whenever it's been possible to drive to the start, we've always had a go ball, as we did this time around with the pink Transit, going from London up to Edinburgh, and then at the end, we've had a Homball, which has brought about some pretty fabulous journeys before now, but this one is probably the most extreme. A couple of weeks with this car, we kicked off in Porto, Montenegro, drove through Montenegro, Serbia, Bulgaria, and into Romania, where we're now literally, well, memories for me of being here with the Abt RS6 that we drove back on the rally back then. But when it comes to using a car for this kind of journey, there are a few pretty important things. So I planned this intending to use this car for the onwards voyage after the end of the rally. Number one is the memories that I have with it. I've taken this car already to the Middle East, to Dubai, to Abu Dhabi. I've taken it out to the United States of America, driven through 29 states plus DC. It's got 22,000 miles on it, around 36,000 kilometers. So some pretty cool stuff, and I want to build on those by taking it to the Transfagarasan and taking it to other places as well. Number two, reliability and dependability. I should touch some wood, but in the entire time I've owned this, touch my head at least, this car has never even tripped a single error message. Nothing has gone wrong with it other than needing tyres and punctures and consumable stuff. The car itself is bulletproof. Number three is comfort and practicality. I love the seats in here. We've got good tech, we've got plenty of space, and in fact, in terms of luggage, because if you think about it, this is another 2-week or so tour on the road, we've got all of our suitcases, soft bags, everything that you can squeeze in under the hatch back here, which at the end of the day is pretty important. If you take a supercar, you're going to have problems. Plus, don't forget, this thing set a Nürburgring lap record at the time. It's a pretty cool car. Also, talking about it, we have our Rally Tour t-shirts here, and we actually have a sale on in the shop right now, 10% off the Rally Tour designs, in fact 10% off everything. The code RALLY10 to grab while supplies last of those, so make sure to check that out. cheers.shmeon50.com, info down below. And of course, we're building up the collection of stickers, the places that the car has been, the shipping labels, the track days, visited some amazing people, Patina Collective, Hamilton Collection, Whistling Diesel, Chris Fix, been to film as well with all three of the Car Trek guys, plus some others who I don't have stickers because they didn't have them or whatever, like Stradman, Street Speed 717, Manny Koshbin, Adam LZ, been to film with Unspeakable, with Wildcat, with loads of amazing other people, which is super, super, super cool how well traveled this car actually is. And that is what I believe it should be all about, enjoying, sharing the positive passion for these kind of things. So, sun coming through, as I said, the roads are ready. Should we go hit the tarmac and head towards the Transfagarasan Highway? I will never forget when we arrived here on Gumball 3000. It was just the craziest thing to be so far away in Bucharest, Romania, and now to be here, of course, next to this building, the Palace of the Parliament, with the GT Black Series. More memories, more adventures. There is, however, one little problem, one little thing, which this car seems to have had more than its fair share of, and that's what's happened here. Yes, I've got another windscreen chip. This time around, I've just ordered one at home. It will be there when the car gets back. It might expand, I hope it doesn't, but we've just kind of got to roll with it, and it is what it is. It's frustrating. It's kind of funny at this point, but hey, it's life. Mr. Shmoo, the cow, is of course along for the ride with us. He is our mascot. He is traveling. There will be more Shmoo the cows coming soon, guys, so do stay tuned for those to be added. Well, I'll let you know as soon as we've got a little bit more information, but we have about 2.5 hours to the base of the highway. Then we're going to be heading up and over it today, over the Transfagarasan, staying the night somewhere on the other side before we come back over with the Transalpina Highway tomorrow. These are the Carpathian Mountains, which we're going to go up to. I've never been there. I have heard very good things about the driving. You just got to watch out, be careful, because they are notorious for accident records and rates and that kind of thing. And the driving here has been a little bit crazy from our experience so far. But here we are. In fact, I remember going this way because the Gumball Hotel back then was up here and around. I'm just mesmerized by the scale of this place. It's gigantic. This building is absolutely enormous. We had the final night dinner in there, the gala dinner, if you will, at the end of the rally, which was really, really good fun. Anyway, enough blabbing. Let's make some progress across Romania towards this famous road. Kind of topical to the Top Gear theme of the day, this exit, which is in the town or the city we're in now, called, I think, Pitești. I have to apologize for all of my pronunciation of Romanian words. Over that way, in a nearby town where unfortunately at the moment it looks very, very, very wet and miserable, is actually the Dacia factory. That's only, I guess, a few kilometers from where we are right now, which is of course the long-running joke thing, you could say, whatever, with the Top Gear trio back in the days and the Sandero. We didn't actually go in a Sandero during this trip, in an Uber, so it feels very suitable, but we're kind of heading past to make our way straight up into the mountains ahead of us, looking at these very fluffy clouds in our direction, but very gloomy thunderstorms over that way. In fact, that looks really miserable right now, so let's hope we stay away from that as long as possible. Believe it or not, an AMG GT just drove past us. He is wondering, like, why is there a GT Black Series just here? But we're somewhere near the entrance to the main road in the last town on this side. The change in what you see when you're driving through here is amazing. I mean, here we literally have a horse and cart pulling some stuff through this town. But then on the other hand, you have parts that have the most perfect tarmac, and the highways, the motorways are phenomenal, as they were when we came on Gumball years ago. But we can now see through towards the mountains up in the distance ahead of us. So once we're out of this town, which is pretty much what the last section of driving has been like, just from town to town, going through the bigger built-up areas, it will open up, and that's where the fun is going to really begin. That sign is the one that we needed. The pass, the Transfagarasan, is open. Good. Good news. That is the start. I think this is the bottom of the pass. We're out of the town, out of the village. We've got smooth tarmac up ahead of us, and it opens, and away we can go. Starting obviously down here, we've come up a little bit in altitude already, but starting down at the foot of the valley through the trees, you see a ton of bikers coming towards us because, of course, smooth tarmac, twisty roads. But I think it will really start to open up with the views when we get a little bit higher. The way this road now starts to snake up the mountain in front of us, and in fact up to the left, you can't really see, I don't think, but on the very top of this bit is the castle, the Pernari Castle, which is the one that was lived in by Ivan the Impaler, and pretty much the setup for Dracula and Dracula's castle. Well, that's what it was inspired by. Anyway, we're going through some tunnels. I think this is Romania's road with the most tunnels of any road in the entire country. Obviously, it's a little bit rough and choppy up here, but I'm looking at the nav screen in front of me. I always love having a nav up, especially ways like this, because you can just see the way it twists and snakes back. Look at these views as it goes up. Gosh, driving a truck that big up here, not the easiest thing in the world. There are sections with rough tarmac, there are sections with clean tarmac. We've seen signs to watch out for bears, a bit of a rock in the middle of the road and a horrible bump, and all sorts of things as you make your way up the hill here. This is a little bit ridiculous. I want to kind of use more of the power, except you never know what's around the next corner as you snake through. Look at this. We're very lucky with the weather because it was not forecast to be this nice today. It was forecast to be choppy and nasty, but we're just down at the bottom and it's already this fantastic. This is a mega piece of tarmac, and we're just at the start. I'd love it if it was a touch smooth. Whoa! Well, look at that. There's literally a bear in the road. Look at that. Look at the other cars as well, by the way. Whoa. I mean, Porsche has stopped for the same reason we've stopped. This is crazy. There's a bear chilling at the side of the road. There's literally a bear at the roadside there. I'm kind of reluctant to go past right now. Everybody's stopping for their photos. We need to get a photo as well. Whoa. That's crazy. Okay, let's go straight past. Let's go straight past. I've just been like a meter or two from a bear. Everybody's chilling. Oh my gosh. The signs are... Welcome to the Transfagarasan Pass. I think that's all we're going to say right now. Is that mama bear? I don't know. You don't want to mess with the bears. You do not want to mess with the bears. The bear doesn't look very happy with us. Although I'm sure the bears here are very familiar with cars coming past. They must get quite accustomed to them. I had thought that we'd be able to jump out and take some photos and things on our way up. I'm quickly deciding that's a bad idea. Look at this. Oh, little babies. The cubs. On the left there. Huh. I need to clean my window. It's covered in all sorts of gunk just so we can see this better. Wow. I've never seen a wild bear, well, other than at a zoo or something, and now we're just driving past them all. No, this guy's waving at the bears. He was just like clicking his fingers, like trying to get their attention. That's a really bad idea. Chap in the Puma, really bad idea. This is the kind of road I really like though. Although I hope the people that have all parked here haven't jumped out of their cars. This is like somewhere where you go walking. Oh, that guy came tight around the corner. This is, I don't know. There feels something slightly wrong about going for a walk in the mountains surrounded by bears. Does not sound like a good idea. It sounds like a really, really, really bad idea. From tunnel to tunnel, it's pretty dark and the ground is pretty chopped up in here. And we're just going really slowly. I need to try and overtake the Puma. Make some bangs. This is crazy. We're on the top of the dam that you have up here. So the lake is out to the side. We drive over the top, and obviously everybody who is around here is probably a tourist and probably as confused as I would be by the GT Black Series. To think that like 2 minutes ago we were filming bears and now people are just walking around. Something about that really, really scares me. It feels wrong. This isn't going to work. He's got to wait. That log truck, that's a bit of a squeeze. If we come up here, we can go in that gap. I think I scared that bear. I was just thinking, are we now in a place where it's safe to pull over? I mean, less than a minute ago we crossed the dam. Literally less than 1 minute ago. And there are bears just walking around. My brain can't quite like accept this. This feels completely wrong. It feels almost like we shouldn't be here. Now, the history of this road, by the way, is quite interesting. It was built, well, only in the 70s, so it's only 50 years or so old, originally as a military road crossing over the mountains. And now, obviously, it's become a bit of a tourist destination because of being famed. Look, more bears, another 4. They stare at us. It's probably because this car's so loud. I just can't get my head over it. This was the military road over the mountains. It's about 100 kilometers or so, I think, in total. And it just twists and turns like this as we make our way through. I just have to be aware of fallen rocks that obviously would take out my splitter quite nastily. And obviously bears that might run across the road at any time. Because I don't really want to have either a running in with a bear for the front of my car or for myself. So I've got to watch out for that. But this is already shaping up to be a pretty epic experience as we make our way up. We've just stopped for a moment because there are cafes and stop points and, you know, things along the way. But I want to show you while we're here. Look at this. Look at the route if I zoom in on this. Look at the way it twists and turns and heads up. I can't wait until we get to some of these sections of this road. Look at this. This is really quite a cool looking road. That's exactly what I live for as a driver. and we've got a couple of hours of it ahead of us. So hopefully incident free. Let's continue. We've come around a corner and we've got ourselves some sheep to drive through. This is quite the experience, from bears to sheep. Can we squeeze through? The sheepdog is kindly helping to move them out of the way. Yeah, I'm gonna try and squeeze past. This is really unusual. Look at this. This is, as days go, from bears to dams to lovely bits of tarmac to sheep to who knows what around the next corner. That's nice, from Austria, with a luggage case on the back. I didn't realize how many people come to drive this road, like how many places there are to stop, how many cool cars have come over. It's a lot of fun being here, really. We are basically arriving towards what I'm going to call the mountainous section of all of this. Looking at the route ahead of us, this is going to get pretty crazy. I'd completely forgotten as we went past the dam before that was where Clarkson, Hammond and May slept in their cars down at the bottom. Oh, tunnel. There we go. We have to make some cracks as we go through a tunnel. It's pretty much compulsory. I'd totally forgotten that they found that side road down at the base of it, where they slept for the night, woke up, and then got driving up here. Look at this! It gets better and better. One of the crazy things here is to look at how all of these trees have been felled, presumably by an avalanche, because obviously in wintertime this is all under snow. It's only actually opened really quite recently, I think like a week ago. So the first kind of batch of the year to come through. Look at this, look at the waterfall up there in front of us. This is totally unreal. Just have to watch out a little bit for the road surface. In some ways this feels like it could be in Austria or something like that. And this map view just in front of me, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. It's the kind of road I like. We're in a big tunnel, making the most of this. But I think the view when we come out here, we're literally now up surrounded by snow. Look at this, literally surrounded by snow. I feel like I'm in a ski resort again with this car. I don't even know. I mean, we're gonna have the most amazing view out in front of us. Down over here, I would imagine. This is like a little shopping town up at the top. That's not what I expected at all. Right, look at this, look at all the little trade stalls and stands at 2,000 odd meters up in the air. Wow, look down to the valley. My word, the completely flat valley down in front of us. Whoa, that's crazy. That is really, really, really crazy. And look at my nav screen right now. Look at that, the snakes. Ridiculous. Oh my goodness gracious me. Whoa, lost for words. Have a look at this. Look where we've stopped. Look at this view. Look at this side. Look at the tarmac down there. Spaghetti on the mountainside, a phrase I have used a few times before. This is cliche, but that's like they've just thrown some spaghetti down over the rocks and that's how it's laid. Look at the way you can see it all the way down. This is the most amazing place. It is not shorts suitable weather. It's now about 8 or 9 degrees Celsius, but I've seen so many pictures of this. I've seen so many videos of this. Obviously the helicopter footage back from when the trio drove it with their cars. To be here right now with this is really cool. This is like many days on the road, lots of stress, lots of expense to do it as well. We're going to drive this in a minute. We're going to drive up and down that road. Wow. Naturally, we've been taking some photos and things with the car up here, but given we're on Homball, we've still got loads of stickers, and I would love to see if any of you guys come up here. And if you do, make sure to send me a photo and tag that, post it online. Team Shmi150 up here at the Transfagarasan in Romania. that this snakes and twists. I mean, we're heading down and look at this. It's just hairpin after hairpin, twist after turn to enjoy this car. It's so surreal to actually be here driving this road. There are a lot of stones on the surface, as you can hear. Constant pittering and pattering of the stones coming up through the arches. But that's a small price to have to pay for the fun of the road. Him filming as we went past. Look at this. Absolutely crazy. I love these short straights. It's where you can use the power of the car without ending up at silly speeds. Get loads of cracks from the exhaust system. The Opus upgrades, of course, on here. This is unreal. This is genuinely, absolutely phenomenal. Like, it might not be the best road surface in the world, but the scenery and the fact that it's not that busy. I was told don't come here on a weekend. We avoided weekends. And there are loads of people who are stopping to take photos and things. But generally, the road itself isn't that busy, and the lane etiquette is fabulous. People do just pull in and shuffle out of the way. Oh, what a place. A compulsory addition to the car. Quick run into the gift shop. We have to put a sticker on for the Transfagarasan where it's been, because this was really the destination of this trip, one of the reasons for coming so far away. And I'm going to put this, if it fits, under the Nürburgring one. I feel like that's one of the best driving roads next to the best of the racetracks. Does that look neat and tidy? I think that's pretty neat and tidy. Let's make sure it's not got any air bubbles underneath it. There we go. Transfagarasan, Romania in the GT Black Series. So far away from home, but so good. Back in the car. Well, this bit of the road downhill feels a bit like Tail of the Dragon in the US. The way it meanders, lots of very tight, twisty turns, undulations, bumps, and all sorts of things as we dip in and out of the sunshine on some very smooth tarmac as well. This is really nice, this way down. Oh, we've got some squeaky brakes going on. Yeah, this is lovely. We're arriving in Sibiu. This is our stop for the night, and then of course tomorrow it's onwards to the Transalpina to see if that's even better, which is what basically everybody seems to suggest between these two roads. Having never driven either of them before, we are starting from the ground up. But we've seen bears, we've seen sheep, we've had amazing roads, we've felt like we're in a whole load of different countries. But let's go check in, take a rest for tonight, and then resume this voyage tomorrow morning to head to the Transalpina Highway. Good morning from the foothills of the Transalpina. Now, we stayed in Sibiu, we've driven for around an hour already today. The road that we've just come up, well, you can't really see very much of it from here because it's through the trees, has already been pretty spectacular. It reminds me a lot of the south of France. Yesterday felt very German or Austrian. Today already feels very south of France. You're going to see that as we continue up this stretch. It was repaved around 10 years ago. It's the highest paved road once we get to the top in the whole of Romania, 2,150 meters or so. But the way that it goes up the hill here, meandering through the trees, along the stream, through the valley, is really quite nice. Anyway, there are loads and loads and loads of bugs flying around us right here. Let's hop in the car and show you what the Transalpina is all about and whether this is even better than the Transfagarasan. If you speak to any local around here, as we have been doing, they all say, so many bugs, they all say, are you coming here? We're here, let's go drive it. Away we go then, literally bugs clinging to the windshield as we get started. But this is a very, very nice stretch of the road. Like I say, we've already driven a decent bit up the road. But look at the way this meanders, wide enough tarmac, smooth enough tarmac. The pass again from back in the 1930s or so, but it was used as a military crossover road between two towns here. But look at this. Absolutely beautiful landscape. perfect bit of spaghetti. It's about 150 kilometers of this, which is going to make for a very, very good day. So many bridges and just random things you go past. In fact, on the road on our way to get to this point, we went through some pretty awesome looking little villages, towns, loads of bright colours on the buildings, places where I was thinking if only we could stop and had a bit more time for some photo shoots. And then we're blasting up here with 850 horsepower, so we'll make our way up. I'm sure it's going to continue like this for a while, and I'm certainly looking forward to what's ahead. The road has just popped out at this dam here, which seems to be a common reoccurrence when you're driving around here, and I was like, let's stop and take a photo, because I mean, this place is quite amazing. It's really quite amazing. In fact, the road we're driving so far is definitely up there with the very best. The start of this is, I'm looking forward to seeing how it's going to evolve, but the start is really, really top. I've been lucky over the years to drive some pretty fantastic roads, from the Route Napoleon in the south of France, some of my favourite roads in Sardinia, to go to the Middle East, Jebel Jais, Jebel Hafid, to go over to the US, to Tail of the Dragon, to the PCH, Pacific Coast Highway, to go even further up towards the Panoramic Highway. And I tell you what, this part of the Transalpina is really on that level. The smooth tarmac, the way the curves are very unpredictable. It's a road that's very technical, very challenging to drive well, to drive right. The scenery changes well because we're going to be popping out later on up into the top of the mountains. The way it just snakes and goes backwards and forwards. This part, if it continues like this, I mean, look at the way this opens up. On new tarmac, smooth, wonderful. It keeps going like this all the way up. Look at this stretch. That's complete luck turning on the camera at that part, but this is absolutely phenomenal. And then we get into some slightly tighter stuff. This is the thing, it goes from those smooth, wide open curves into the tight and twisties with a moment's notice. This is absolute perfection. If you had to design a road, this is basically what you would design. This is what you would plan. This is how it would be. We were just enjoying a lovely bit of road, and then out of nowhere, it's this. Under construction, dust and gravel. I had a bike behind me. I got on the brakes, obviously, and sent the hugest of dust clouds up into the air behind me. I felt so guilty, but that's what you gotta watch out for here. Just out of nowhere, the road ends. Just ends. Aside from that, though, it was a lot of fun on the stretch before. A lot of fun. That was really amusing. Oh well, all's good. Because we're in the land of absolutely no phone signal, and somewhere in the mountains, in fact there's snow up there on the other side, we've turned on the car nav, because of course that actually has the road layout. It's always helpful to know what the next corner looks like. And look at that stretch of corners. Literally just yo-yoing back across the mountain, hairpin after hairpin. As you can tell also, I'm currently driving in comfort mode, just chilling out a notch, enjoying the scenery, enjoying the view. What a place to be. You know, look at this. Just back from one side to the next. The thing with this road, and one of the reasons why it's quite so notorious, are that a lot of stretches do not have guardrails like this. Where we are right now is obviously a little bit protected, we can say, but a lot of it isn't. A lot of it is just you and the tarmac. You do not want to get it wrong. Out of nowhere, we've popped out from the trees and we have a completely different landscape. And you know, in terms of different driving roads, I didn't even mention things like Pikes Peak, and of course pretty much every mountain pass in France and Switzerland and Germany and Austria. But this is a completely different road all of a sudden. It still feels very, very, very French. But yeah, this is where not much by way of guardrails between us and falling to our peril. So we're certainly taking this easy. And where does the tarmac actually go? As we meander up here, look at this. It's actually really steep as well. Tons of bikers up here. But this is now, instead of being quite so touristic, which is what I would say of Transfagarasan, this is now like drivers. This is now a driver's road. Well, the GT Black Series fans are in overdrive, but take a look at this. The stop point up here. Look at the view around us. In fact, the road snakes up even higher over that way. You can see up the hill, which is kind of unreal. The view all around, though, is absolutely breathtaking. We're going to try and grab a bite to eat where we are at the moment, and we've been splatting a whole lot of bugs and things. There are some big bugs splat on the drive up here. In fact, there's even one on the camera I spotted. Yeah, I don't know what they all are, but this is the bug splatting machine now, apparently. Well, we just had a bite to eat for lunch up here, but it does mean I now need to do a touch of off-roading to get the car out of the car park. You're about to see what I mean by that. I have certainly seen pictures of this part before. Look at the way this literally just goes back and forth on itself up the hill. This is crazy. Snaking from one direction to the other. Get some good downshifts for that chap. Look at this. We must be somewhere near the peak now. I don't actually know if we've already been through the peak or if maybe this is the peak. It's kind of a whole series of undulations up here where it rolls from hill to hill and from almost like breakthrough at the top of the pass into the next one. But we're just basically following it along. Everybody stops everywhere to try and grab photos because the view is unreal. The view, especially out on my side, the way it goes down the valley, this is something else. Just look at this, like, there's actually almost a town or a village up on the hill in front of us. That's crazy as well. The views as we make our way down this descent are unreal as well. It's truly the most amazing place to drive. Tons of stop-off points. Just looking down and towards the valley. As this road makes its way around the corners and down. It's hard to kind of compare this really to anything else. Even the two roads that we've driven up here are so different from one another. I mean, look at this. What a place. I'm so pleased to have finally been here, to have driven each of these highways, to have a sense of what they're actually about. There are cows here, wild schmooze. There's actually a children's kind of climbing frame thing, and there are just cows chilling and lying around. The wildlife has actually made this even more interesting. We've had bears, we've had sheep, and now we've had some cows just chilling in the road. What was I saying about cows just being in the middle of the road? Lots of animals, like farm animals, wildlife, the whole mix. They are just walking up the hill. So Shmoo can meet some of his friends. Shmoo the cow and the actual cows. He's waving at them. He's happy. He's seen some cows. Yeah. This is just so random. Look at this guy. The second car just got bored waiting and went round. The first car's just chilling there. I don't really want to go around in case there's a car coming towards us. I don't know. This is fun. Guys are loving it. Oh, this is cool. On we go. After a day of phenomenal views, actually 2 days of phenomenal views, you're going to have to put up with something a little bit less exciting for the minute. We just pulled into a petrol station, filled up the tank. I do appreciate how in Romania you can get 100 RON fuel pretty much everywhere, which is about the equivalent of 96 octane in the US. So that's pretty nice, especially for a car like this. It's obviously modified, all of the Opus upgrades, it kind of needs the good stuff if you can get it. But to touch on this driving experience, one observation is that it's amazing how many trucks and particularly bikes come around the corners slightly on the wrong side of the road. More than I would say I've experienced on other mountain passes. So that's something you've always got to watch out for, and being prepared to dive straight on into the edge, which in a right-hand drive car is actually easier because you're positioning the right-hand side right up to the barrier, so it makes your life a little bit smoother on that front. In terms of the greatest driving road in the world, I think that's a bit of a complicated topic. Don't get me wrong, the Transfagarasan in terms of views was unbelievable. The amount of breathtaking panoramas you have up there, totally in a different world. Today's road, the Transalpina, the start of it heading south as we did, those smooth turns were absolutely glorious. That was motoring perfection for that period, but then up towards the top, it's super busy, very slow, and a little bit dangerous with no barriers. Does that make one of these two the best driving road in the world? I think that title goes to a road where all of the circumstances and conditions come together. If you drive any one of these roads too much, they're going to become a little bit boring, considering what they actually are. And I think that the variety of different roads means that you can lump together like a top 10, a top 20, rather than trying to pick one single best road in the world. I mean, can the best road in the world have a section where just out of nowhere it's unpaved all of a sudden? Probably not. Can the best road in the world have as much traffic as you have up at the top of the Transfagarasan on a busy day? Probably not. I don't know. I don't think there's an answer to this. Is it one of the best, as Top Gear said? Yes. Yes, absolutely. The Transfagarasan, even better going to the Transalpina, but I think you pretty much have to drive them as a pair. They run basically parallel. We've gone north up the Transfagarasan, across and down the Transalpina. You can do it the other way around, you can do it all around, and I thoroughly recommend it. If you're planning a road trip across Europe and you've got the time to come this far towards the east, do it. Make it happen, because that has been awesome. Anyway, I have waffled on for long enough. It is super cool to have driven this car out here on these roads, to have the sticker, to have the evidence, to have the photos, to have the video. It's been a really, really cool pair of days. Anyway, for us now, it's boring highway as we continue Homball, obviously from Bucharest all the way back towards London. We've got a slogged day towards the very west of Romania where we're going to stop for the night, I think. Maybe we'll go further. Then it's going to be like Hungary, Czech Republic, I can't remember exactly the route, Germany, something across, with a few more stops along the way. But that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching, guys. As always, I appreciate your support an awful lot, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.